He is in the bathroom before the coffee has even finished brewing. He has been going at the same time every morning for 50 years. Reliable as a clock, he used to say. But lately it takes longer. He sits, he waits, he pushes a little harder than he used to. Some days it works, some days it does not. He does not mention it to anyone. It is not the kind of thing you bring up. And yet what is happening inside his body right now is worth paying close attention to. The mistake often happens in a heartbeat, just 30 seconds. It's that 30-second decision to ignore the body's first gentle signal because you're busy with the news or waiting for the coffee to drip. That brief delay sets off a chain reaction that makes elimination twice as hard later. Digestive health, and specifically the health of the lower bowel, is one of those areas that gets quietly overlooked in routine medical care, particularly for adults over 70. Most checkups focus on blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar, and medication management. The mechanics of daily elimination, the warning signs of a colon that is under stress, the morning habits that either protect or quietly compromise bowel function. These conversations rarely happen unless something has already gone wrong. That is the gap I want to address today, as plainly and practically as I can. My name is Dr. Evan Noris. I am a proctologist and colorectal health specialist with 17 years of clinical experience, focused on digestive and lower bowel function in older adults. What motivated this video is a specific pattern I see regularly in patients over 70, whose symptoms, when we trace them back, connect directly to habits formed decades ago that their bodies can no longer compensate for the way they once did. After 70, the colon changes in ways that are real and measurable. The muscular contractions that move waste through the large intestine, a process called peristalsis, slow down. Think of the colon as a slow-moving river. In younger years, the current carries things along efficiently. After decades of use, the current weakens, the bends in the river become more pronounced, and material that used to move through in hours can sit for much longer. At the same time, the nerve endings that signal urgency and coordinate the timing of elimination become less sensitive. The muscles of the pelvic floor, which support the entire lower bowel and rectum, lose tone with age. And the body's natural morning gastrocolic reflex, the biological signal that tells the colon to get moving after sleep, becomes weaker and shorter in duration. All of this means that the window in the morning, when the body is most naturally prepared for a comfortable bowel movement, is both more important and more easily disrupted than it was at 50. What you do in the first 30 minutes after waking either works with that window or against it. Before we go further, I want to ask you, how would you honestly describe your bowel regularity right now? Regular, somewhat irregular, or a real, ongoing concern? Just type one of those in the comments. It helps me understand who is watching and what information will be most useful. The first morning mistake I want to address is the habit of getting up, moving directly into the demands of the day, and suppressing the body's natural urge to go when it first arrives. The gastrocolic reflex, which moves muscle activity through the colon after the stomach begins to fill, typically peaks within 30 to 60 minutes of waking. For most people over 70, this window is shorter, and the signal is quieter than it used to be. When that signal arrives and is ignored for even 30 seconds, because you are on a call, finishing breakfast, or waiting for a more convenient moment, the colon reabsorbs water from the stool that is waiting to move. Stool that sits longer becomes harder and drier, requiring more straining to pass, which contributes to hemorrhoids, anal fissures, and the development of diverticular pockets in the colon wall. A former clockmaker named Augusto, a meticulous man, came to see me with chronic constipation that had worsened significantly since moving in with family. The household schedule was not his own anymore, and he had fallen into a pattern of waiting. By the time he saw me, he was straining daily and had developed a small fissure. The practical fix is about priority. Treat the body's morning signal as a non-negotiable appointment. When the urge arrives, respond to it immediately. The second habit is starting the day with coffee and nothing else. Coffee does stimulate peristalsis, and that stimulant effect is real. The problem is that coffee is also mildly dehydrating, and after 70, the body already works with a reduced thirst response. When the colon receives stimulation from coffee, but lacks enough water to soften the stool, the result is urgency without ease. The body signals it is time, but the mechanics are difficult. This is common if you are also taking blood pressure medications or diuretics, which already lower your baseline hydration. A woman named Philippa, a former botanist, came to see me describing a frustrating inconsistency in her mornings. When we looked carefully, the easy mornings were the ones when she had drunk a full glass of water before her coffee. We made one change: water first, always, and the inconsistency largely resolved. The practical fix: before anything else in the morning, drink a full glass of room temperature water to give the colon the fluid it needs to work with the stimulation that follows. The third morning habit involves posture. Specifically, the position most people in Western countries adopt on a standard toilet. The anatomy is clear. The puborectalis muscle, which maintains continence, remains partially contracted when you sit upright at a 90-degree angle, creating a natural kink in the rectum that makes complete evacuation more effortful. After 70, when pelvic floor tone is already reduced, this positional adjustment is not a minor detail. A man named Ronaldo, a former marine architect, approached this with systematic precision after a significant hemorrhoid flare. He was straining every morning despite a reasonable diet. What we changed was his posture, using a small footstool to raise his knees above his hips, approximating a squatting posture, which straightened the angle and allowed the muscles to relax fully. The practical fix: a toilet footstool costs very little and is available widely. Raise your knees above hip level during elimination, and see how it changes the ease and completeness of the process. The fourth mistake involves straining, pushing hard and holding your breath, known as the Valsalva maneuver. After 70, this practice carries risks it simply did not at younger ages. This maneuver dramatically increases pressure inside the abdominal cavity and simultaneously drops blood return to the heart. For older adults, particularly those with heart disease, hypertension, or existing hemorrhoidal tissue, this repeated pressure spike creates real risk. There is even a documented association between significant straining episodes and cardiac events in susceptible individuals. A woman named Celestine, a former concert harpist, came to see me after her husband noticed she seemed pale and lightheaded on several mornings. She had been straining significantly for months. We coordinated her care with her cardiologist because this was a cardiovascular conversation as much as a digestive one. The practical fix: if it is not coming within a few minutes of sitting, get up and try again later. Straining is not the solution. It is the symptom of a problem that needs to be addressed through hydration, timing, and fiber. The fifth morning habit involves consistently eating a breakfast low in soluble fiber. Fiber is the mechanical foundation of healthy bowel function. Soluble fiber, specifically, absorbs water and forms a soft, gel-like bulk that makes stool easier to pass. After 70, when peristalsis is slower and stool spends more time in the colon reabsorbing water, adequate soluble fiber is structural. Many older adults eat breakfasts like white toast, eggs alone, or pastries, which are low in fiber. A former documentary filmmaker named Iris came to see me after years of digestive vagueness, never truly blocked, but never truly comfortable. We added a simple, soluble fiber source to her morning: oats, ground flaxseed, or a piece of whole fruit. And within a month, she described a consistency and ease she had not experienced in years. The practical fix: look at what you eat in the first hour of the day and ensure it contains soluble fiber like oats, flaxseed, pears, or apples. Discuss a daily fiber target with your doctor. Your morning digestive window, the 30 to 60 minutes after you wake, is one of the most important and underprotected windows in your day. Starting tomorrow, drink room temperature water before your coffee. Respond to your body's morning signal immediately without waiting 30 seconds. Look into a toilet footstool, ensure your breakfast has fiber, and stop pushing through discomfort silently. Everything I have shared here is meant to start a conversation with your own physician, not to replace one. Your health history and medications require personalized guidance. Please bring these points to your doctor as a partner. And if you want to know how your digestive system affects your energy levels, watch my next video on the connection between gut microbiome balance and what you do starting with your very next meal.